So now let's create the project part where client can add new projects and can assign new tasks to the projects, change the status, invite team members and all those things. Right. So we have this dashboard. So now let's build a page for list of projects. Okay, so I'll go to my collection and I'll say add page. Now we will just copy the dashboard because we already have the snippets in place and everything. So we will avoid spending time in designing pages again. Okay, so I'll say client project list page. Okay, and I'll say copy from existing. Which existing? So I think we have a client dashboard. Client dashboard. And this time the person with client admin role and person with client team member. So we need to make sure that we select these roles for all these pages or all the dashboard things which we are creating for client. So the page got created successfully. Here we are. So let's just display all the projects. Okay. So I'll go to the component and drop a data group this time. Okay. So data group is here. We'll say get content from collection. Okay. Which collection? Project collection and all items. As of now, it will show me all the projects, but I don't need all the projects. I need only the projects which this client has created or which were created for this client. Okay, so I don't need search bar for now. I'll just remove snippet. I'll move to the top. Okay, so projects is here. So before that, let's put some heading. Say heading which is add projects. Just change the font a bit. So this is too big. So let's say 32. This is good. Font. Let's add some margin to the top, 50 pixel margin to the top, and let's say 25 pixel to the bottom. Okay, so now here you see it is basically just moving it outside. Sorry. Just moving it outside of the data group. Okay, actually it is inside the data group. It should be outside of the data group. Okay, so this is the data group. It has cards and pagination. Okay, so let's say I don't need these cards. I need maybe a different card, maybe a small card for each project. So what I can do, I can go to my component and drop a column layout. Okay, I drop a column. And column, we can actually decide that how it should look on different screens. So I'm saying on a very big screen, take 2 by 12, which is 1/4 of the screen. Sorry, on large screen, take 12 by 12, basically the full width. On tablet, take 4 by 12. On small screen, take 3. Oh, sorry, on bigger screen, take 3 by 12, basically 1/4. So this is fine. Now, so let's choose card. Let's go to the components and drop a card component. So I'll just find it, card. So I drop it inside this column. Okay, and let's see which one looks good to us. So let's say I want something like this. Okay, this is my project. So I'll say this card. So I want project to have card like this. So I'll remove this. It's not needed. I'll remove this. This is also not needed. And I have a data group which has a card. Okay, so now my projects will be like in the form of card, and this we will replace with project title and all these things. Okay, so now let's go and see. As of now, I don't think it will display anything because there are no projects. So let's first go build couple of projects. Okay, and link this project to the this page. So I'll go to my collection. Let's add few projects. So I'll say add project. Project 1, let's say sales task, some description in the client. Okay, so let's say Microsoft. I'm adding projects for different clients so that we also see that each client see only their projects. So let's say for Google, weather app, some description. Let's say for Google, some project. Let's say Apple. So all these different projects I've created, just dummy. Okay. Now let's go to the snippet and link the project page to the sidebar. Okay. So we have two sidebars on the base of role, so we need to fix it in both. So here in the link, I'll say take them to client project list page, which is fine. This one will take to client dashboard. So this is fixed for client admin. Now let's fix for client team member also. Dashboard will take them to client dashboard, and projects will take them to client projects. So this is fixed. Now let's reload this page. So here we are logged in as a client team member. If you want to display who the person is logged in, we can just display it somewhere here in the dashboard. Okay. So now if I click this link, it should work. So it will take me to client list page, project list page. So it is showing projects. They are not coming in order. So let's go and see what is the issue. Okay. So this card is inside the column. This is an image card. It should be in the column, and this whole column should be inside the data group, which is correct. All this we don't need. Cards we don't need. So this is the data group and the column. Okay, so we need to remove this LG because it is basically taking the full width. Right, so now let's reload. So the projects are here. So this is the dummy data. So let's replace with the actual data. Okay, and this we will take them to the project details page. Okay, and maybe we give a button to create new project. Okay, so let's do, and ignore this image. So these images are with some random URL which keeps changing. So just ignore it for now. Okay, now in this page, I want to display the actual project name. So I'll say get data from collection, which collection from the project collection, and just display the name. This is fine. Here we want to display the description. Same thing, get data from collection, description. Okay, and let's say created date. Okay, so let's say the project created at. This one will be project details page. So we'll create project details page in a few minutes, and then we'll just redirect the person. So this is it. One is sales task, marketing task, weather app, iPhone. So it is showing all the projects. Now I want to see only the projects which are applicable for this particular client, right? Each one should see only their data. So let's do it. So for that, what we'll do, we'll go to the project and create a filter. Basically a query that will be what type of project should be shown. So I'll go to the configuration in the project and I'll create a filter. I'll say project of current logged in user tnet or logged in user client. I'm saying show me all the projects which are for the client for whom this user is logged in. Okay, so I'll say find all matching data, add condition, and here we'll say bring me the project where client is equal to current logged in user client. Okay, so we are saying bring me all the projects where the client in the project is equal to the client in the current logged in user, right? Whoever is the logged in user, show them the projects which are specific to them, or which are of the same client to whom which these people belongs to, right? So it is basically matching client from the collection, project collection, to the user collection, so that each user will only see the projects which their company or their client owns. Okay, so I'll say create filter. That's all. So project of current logged in user client. Now we'll go back to the page and just change the filter to this filter. So sometimes the filters shows by default, sometimes it may not load for you, so better is to just delete the data group and build it again. So go to the data group, go to the settings. Okay, so I've just changed it. I'll just reload. So now this time we will only see the projects which are specific to this particular client. Only 2 projects. So you see marketing and weather, and these are the projects which were created for Google. So if you go to project, you can see it. So Google. Let's create one more project. Let's say Google Maps issues, Google Save. Now if you load, I'll see 3 projects. So now let's implement the details page of these projects. Okay, so that person can go to project, they can create a new project, and they can also view the task of the projects. Okay, so to do that, we'll create 2 pages. Okay, so one I'll say a project details page, and one is project create page. Okay, so I'll say add page. So I'll say client project create. Same thing, we'll copy from the existing pages so that we don't have to design again. Okay, and I'll choose from client project list page this time, and both the rows, because both people can create projects. So project create page is here, so I'll just delete this data group because it's not needed. Here I'll say create project. Now I need a form. Okay, so this is important, how we basically capture the data. So I'll show you how we use hidden fields here. So I'll go to the component and drop our 2 column layout so that we don't take the full width of the page, otherwise form looks ugly. And I'll just drop a collection form. Okay, and this time we'll say project. A project needs to be created. An event we'll select. We have to create an event. Okay, so I'll go to my events and create an event. So create project by client. So this is the event which we'll create. So what the event will do, event will just save the data in the collection, and that's all, redirect to the list page. So save in project collection. Okay, let's say project created. Error. That's all. And after that, what we'll say? We'll say redirect, navigation, page redirect to which page? Project list page, client project list page. That's all. Okay, same thing. So details page, I don't think we need anything else. Okay, so let's create one more page, which is a project details page. Okay, and there we will create new task. So let's say client project details, project details. That's all. We'll say copy from existing page. Which page? Copy from any client page. Let's say client dashboard. And same thing, team member and client admin can access this. So we have two new pages. One is project create page and one is project details page. So first let's complete the project create page. Okay, so we were here, we have created an event which is create project by client. Now if you see, this is asking name, description, but it's also asking client, right? We don't want person to give client themselves, okay, because they may end up choosing something else. So this needs to be passed as a hidden field, or we have one more way where you can do it in constructor. But before that, I'll just show you how this looks like. So I'll go to the project list page and add a button to create new projects. Okay. I don't know why this is appearing twice, maybe some issue. So I'll go to my component and drop a section here, to column, okay, and add a button which is project create for client. Okay, and I'll just remove these classes. Create project. We'll mark it right align. That's all. And move this heading inside this. Okay, since we have applied a padding of 100 pixels, sorry, margin of 100 pixels, so that's why it is towards the bottom. I'll apply the same here also. This looks good. So now let's reload this page. Now this page should have a button here. So this is the button, create project. Okay, and here obviously some padding margin so that you can manage why it is 0. So now let's go to create project. So here you see I am seeing all the clients, right? I don't need all these clients. I want the person to only provide name and description, that's all, right? So let's go to the project create page and change this. So what we will do, let's apply. So what we will do, we will copy the name, which is client, okay, and basically delete this field. We don't need this field. We will pass the data in a hidden field. So we'll go to the components and drop our input field. Okay. Why I'm doing an input field? Because so that we can override the value as a hidden field. So I'll say client, and here in the get content I'll say get value from logged in user. And what value? We are saying bring the client ID. Whoever is the client of the current logged in user, bring their ID. Okay. Now let's just reload this page. So here this drop down will go away and it should show me the ID of Google. Okay. And then we'll mark it as hidden field. So when a project gets created, it will basically take client as Google, right? So this is the ID of Google. Okay. So you don't need to pass name or anything, just you need to pass the ID. And I'll just mark the type as hidden. So now this field is hidden. So it is actually taking the Google details because we are logged in as client of Google, But let's say we are logged in as a team member of some other company or some other client, it will take the ID of that particular client because it is picking the ID from the logged in user. So now let's create another project. Okay, have we binded the event? I'll just cross check. Yes, we have binded the event, create project by client. Okay, so now this will basically create a project and redirect us to the list page of the projects. So now let's create one more project for Google, which is, let's say, YouTube optimizations, some description, submit. So now it will save the data and redirect us to the list page of projects. Okay, with one more project, which is YouTube optimizations for this particular client. So this is here. Now let's implement the project in details page. So we go to the project details page. Let's display something and then we'll create task here. Okay, so this is a project details page. Let's show some statistics about the project and then the list of tasks which are in the project. Okay, so I'll go here. Let's find some statistics. Let's use this Jumbotron. Okay, so I'll just copy this, copy element, come back here, the details page, in the components, custom HTML code, paste, okay, and then embed. That's all. So this is snippets moves down, so remove it. I don't need this button, or let's say create this button, and this button will change to create a task. Okay, actually this is a button, so we can either keep it button or we can just make it a link and use the same attribute. So I'll do one thing. I'll say drop a link just next to this button and apply the same classes, which is btn border which is btn primary and btn lg. So I'll say btn primary and btn lg, and we call it create task. Okay, and we'll implement the task flow in our way. Now I'll remove this. Now this is a project details page. We want to display the details of a project on this page. So what we will do, we will basically bind the project collection to this page so that we can actually access all the properties of project. So I'll say bind collection. Which collection? Project collection. So this will help us to basically access all the properties of project on this page. Okay, like we want to display the project name here, we want to display the project description. This create task should also take us to project page. Okay, and here we will display all the tasks of the project, okay, of this particular project. So let's see how that can be done. So first of all, let's go in, let's reload the page. Now let's display the title of the project. So I'll say get value from project. Why we are getting this option now? Because we binded the collection of project to this page. Okay, so it is saying which thing. I'll say display the name of the project. That's all. Here let's display the description of the project. So I'll say this column. I think it should be some other layer inside the column. Okay, this is quite weird. So I'll say a text component, maybe change the font to, let's say, 24 pixel, so 20 pixels, font, some font, and in the settings I'll say get content from project and get description from project. Okay, so you can display some fancy stats and whatever you want to display. Now let's go to the project card, which is client project list page, and from there let's come here. Okay, so this is some caching issue, ignore it. So here I'll say same thing, this is a button, we don't need button. So make it a link. So a link. Go to project details page, which is this. Now you need to pass the ID. Okay, so basically that which particular project you want to go. So I will choose this option, get parent component collection, which is basically the ID which is binded to the data group. Okay, so this is fine. Here we'll say view. Okay, and I'll delete this, and maybe if you want you can keep it blue, you can keep it yellow, depending on the bootstrap class which you'll apply. Okay, let's say view. That's all. So now this will take us to the project details page. So I'll just reload this page. As of now, these links are not working because they were not linked. Now this will take us to the project list, details page, where we will have a lot of tasks. Right. So this will create a new project. This will take us to the details page. So let's go to this YouTube optimization. I'll say view. It will take me to a page which is project optimization, right? Because this is specific to this particular project. Okay, so let's go here. Let's build this page. Now I want to display all the tasks which are in this project by the status. Okay. So this font is not looking good. I'll just change it to something else. I'll add some margin to this button because it is too sticking quite to the font. It will be 15. This is fine. Now let's display the list of tasks here. So to display tasks, we will just use a data table component. Okay. I'll say the data from collection, which collection, task collection, and all tasks. Okay. Currently it will display all tasks. We will change this to display only the task of this particular project. So first I'll remove this filter. I don't need. Delete, edit. We'll keep it for now and we'll see what needs to be done here. Okay, so I think this is snippet. Move to the top. This box again to the. That's all. Okay, if you want, we can also put a heading in between that, okay, what these tasks are. So I'll say title, description. Instead of description, I'll just display the status. Have we created the status? No. Title, due date, description. Assigned to, that whom these tasks are assigned. Let's just display assigned to. Okay. Let's go to the collection and see whether it has tags. Okay, so the task has title, description, assigned to is a reference field, user email, which is fine, and then client. Now let's add one more field, which is a dynamic option of tags, like what all tags are assigned to this task. Okay, and in the collection I'll say tag, display name, and multi-select. A task can have multiple tags. Okay, and save. That's all. So now if I go back to my page, I can actually display these tags also. So now let's reset this table, but it may not bring the recent field which we have created. So I'll say task and this all. Okay, so now if you see, it is actually bringing tags, description, due date, text, and title. Okay, so we'll have to come back here because first we need to create a filter. Before creating a filter, I'll show you that how this thing works. So by default, it will show you all the titles, right? Oh, sorry, all the tasks. I don't need all the tasks. I need only the task of this particular project. Which project? The project which is coming on that page. Okay, before that, let's go and create a couple of tasks. Add task. I'll say task 1 for project YouTube. Due date, some due date, some description, assigned to, for now I'll just assign to anyone, client. Okay, so this is important. So let's say this was for Google tags, we don't have any tags created, so it is not showing anything. So I'll save it. Okay, but before that, let's create few tags. In the collection, let's create few tags. I'll say urgent tag. This is for Microsoft. Let's create one more tag, again urgent, but this time it is for Google. So each client can also have its own tag, so that when they are creating a task, when they're assigning a text to the task, they will only see the text which they have created. Okay, I'll say another text, important, which is, let's say, for Google. Another tag, let's say Apple. You can create as many tags as you want, right? So low priority, which is again Google, and that's all. Okay, so now let's go back to task. Let's edit some text to this task. Okay, now you are seeing all the text, right? So this is a confusion. You should only be seeing the text which are part of Google, and this we will control on the front end. When team members are adding tags, they will only see the text which are part of that particular client. For now, I don't have a way to display it here, so I've just added some random text. Okay, let's say task 2 for project YouTube. Some due date, some description, assigned to anyone, client, Google, important. Okay, now I'll add one task, and let's say this is for project Apple. This only when someone log in as Apple, then only they should see, right? Because this is a task for some other person. We don't have a user for Apple, but that's fine. Okay, I think since both of them are same. Okay, so this is it. I've created 3 tasks and all of them are getting displayed. So now if I reload the page, it should show me all these 3 tasks which we have created. So now I'll go to this table. I remove this stripe class, I don't like it. I can also remove this border, I don't like it. That's all. Okay, now if I reload the page, I should see this task. And here you can see I am also seeing the tags. And if you can implement multiple tags, you can see multiple tags. Now let's implement this functionality where you create a task for a project and the task gets added to the project. Okay. Now let's implement a task flow. We want to create a task specific to this project, right? So whenever you go to a project details page, you create a task and the task should get assigned to that particular project. So let's see how that can be done. So we are on a project details page. We have this project ID everywhere available. Now I'll go and create a task. When I'm going to create a task, I need to carry this project ID so that when a task gets created, it gets assigned to this project. So one way to create a task is to create on a model pop-up, which is very straightforward. Or other option is to create on a new page. But on a new page, you get a bigger area where you can attach screenshots. You want to do a lot of things. So let's do how that can be done with a page. With model pop-up, probably we can implement a feature to change the status of a task. Okay. So let's see what can be done. So I'll here, let's go create a page. Let's say I'll say add page, client, create task. Same thing, I'll copy from existing page. I don't want to create a new page. So client project details page, admin and team member. Okay. Now I'll say create. So project got created. It has a data table. I'll remove this data table. I'll remove this data table. I'll remove this button. I'll remove the description. Maybe let's just continue to display the project name. Okay, so when you are adding a task, you know that for which project this task is getting added. But this name will not come because we have not binded the project collection to this page. Let me see. Okay, it's already binded because we have copied from our details page. So this is much important. A project ID is needed because when you are creating a task, you should know that for which project the task is getting created. Okay, this is fine. So let's drop a section, 2-column layout. Okay, and here let's drop a collection form. This time we want to basically create a task. Column is task. So task has all these parameters: title of the task, due date, description, assigned to, client, and tags. Okay, so now we don't want to create client. Okay, I think one thing we missed, the tasks should have a project reference also, that for which project this task is, otherwise it is it has no significance, right? Because tasks are not specific to a client, they are specific to a project. So let's add one thing in the field. I'll say a reference project, project collection, and this display name, that's all. Okay, so a task is for a project. So I'll go back to the page again and then drop the collection form again. Either you can drop a complete collection form or you can just drop a field, collection field. So let's use collection field. Okay, so sometime it happened that let's say you added a field to a collection, so you don't want to erase all your form again. So to do that, we have a component called collection field. So you just drop the field and you choose that, okay, what that field is, and it will basically create automatically. So here I'll choose project. So this is the field which we just added, right? So now if you see, it is asking title, due date, description, assigned to, client, project, and tags. Okay, now I don't want to take client and project from the user because they may end up choosing something else, and obviously I don't want to show them that how many clients I have, right? I only want to pass the client field as a hidden field. Same thing for project. When person is creating a task and when he is coming from the project details page, then we already know that for which project they want to create a task. So we don't want to capture both these fields. But for now, let's just keep it as it is and see how this page looks like. Then we will come here and fix this. Okay. So now let's go to the project details page and link this page from the task, create task button. We have this button, create task. I'll say take me to create task page. Now I also want to pass the ID. This time this is not in the data group. Now it is on a details page. So it is saying either you pass from the parent component or from the page collection. So we'll pass from the page collection and the ID. Whatever ID is binded to the page, which is the project ID, pass the same ID to the next page. So then when we are creating a task, we know that which project this task is getting added. So I'll reload this page. This link should start working now. And you see the ID, it's 5A and ending with 3D87. It should continue with us on the next page also. Okay, so let's create task. You see this is the same ID, 5A starting with 5 and ending with 3D87. So this is the field. Now if you see, it is showing me client drop down, it is showing me assigned to, title, description, project, okay, and tags. It's not loaded completely yet. So now it is here, assigned to, client, which project, and the tags. And these are all the tags. Okay, now let's fix this. So I want assigned to, but only I want to show them the people who are part of this particular client. First thing, client I don't need because I already have. Project I don't need, I already have. Tags, I only want to show the tags which are part of this particular client. Okay, so let's see how this can be done. So let's do one thing at a time. So I'll go to my create task. Let's first remove client and project dropdown because those are easy. Both these things you get from the, this thing you get from the logged in user, this thing you get from the page, right? Because you already have the ID coming on the page. So client, we do the same thing. We just copy the name, which is this name. Okay, we come here In the components, I drop a input field. Somewhere here. Okay, I'll give the name, which is client, and I'll say get content. Get content from logged in user. So you can get content from logged in user because you need the client ID. You can actually also get client from the project because project also has a client ID, right? So you can say get project, get value from project, and then you choose client ID. That is one option. Second is you can choose the client ID from the logged in user. So both options are there. So this time let's choose from the client logged in from the project. So we have the client ID. So I don't need client. Same thing, project ID. We need project ID. So I'll just copy this, copy the name, and convert it into a hidden field again. Okay. Similarly, what I've done for client, I'll do that for the project. I'll say project, get content from project. So now I'll say project ID. Okay, project ID is the ID which is binded to the page, right? Because project collection is binded to the page. So this is project ID. I'll just remove this also. So now we have client ID, we have project ID. So I'll just reload the page. So these two should go away. So this is the client ID, project ID. So I'll just mark them as hidden like we did previously. You can either hide them individually or you can even hide the complete div if they are inside some specific div. Okay, so that you don't have to hide them manually, or you can just apply class display none, d none. Okay, so now assign to and tags. So assign to, I only want to show the options where they see the data or the people who are part of their team. Okay, so we can create a filter for this that we'll see how we can do, and tags also same thing. Okay, so but for now let's just complete this flow where we can see they can create a task. Then we'll come back and apply filters to this drop down so that they only see the relevant options in the drop down. Okay, I'll just reload this page. So now let's create a task. YouTube v1 changes. Let's say some task, some due date, description, some test description. You can always mark this as a text area. Okay, and I'll say assign to Google team and tags. So let's say low, and I'll submit this. Okay, I don't think this will work because we have not yet created an event for this collection. Okay, so event is not there. So let's go and create an event and then we'll come back here. In the events, we'll go and add event. Yeah, so let's go and create an event for task creation. So let's say create task for project by client. Okay, let's say create. So what we will do, we will just first go to the collection and save data. So save data in task collection. Success message, let's say task created successfully, unable to create task. So this will basically save the task in the collection. The next part is redirection, right? So once the task gets created, I want the user to go back to the project details page from where we were showing the list of tasks. So what we will do, we will choose the destination, which is a project details page, and here we will choose this option, third, send item ID of current page, because we were coming from a project details page and there was an ID associated with that page that this is the details page of a specific project. So after creation of task, we want to go back to the same page, right? You can also go to project list page, you can go to dashboard, but it makes more sense to go to the project details page from where we came to create this task. So I'll say send item ID of current page. Okay, that's all. Now let's go back to the task create page and assign this event, and then we'll execute this. So we are here on collection form. Now let's go and just bind the event which we just created, which is create task for project by client. So I save this. Now let's go and preview. So login with the client. So we have created a client with the Gmail, google@gmail.com. So I'll just log in with the same client. Okay. So we are here. Now let's go to projects. So let's go to YouTube optimizations and let's create a task for this project. Okay. So I'll go create a task. Before that, let's see how many tasks are already here. Okay, so 2 tasks, right? So I'll just go and create task. So title, so let's say task 3 for YouTube optimizations. Some date. Okay, description. Test description. Assigned to, let's say, same person, assigning to them. And let's say priority is bug fix. Okay, and I'll submit this. So now what it will do, it will save the task and take us to the project details page, and this task should get assigned to that particular project because we are passing that project ID in a hidden field. Task created successfully. Came back to the task details page from where we started, and then it will show me the task which we just created. Right. So this way, the project details page is only seeing the task for the specific project. You can go to another project and create tasks for that particular project. Okay, and then from there, basically, each TNet is seeing their projects. Each project is basically seeing their task. Right. So let's go and create for some other project. So let's say I want to create a task in weather app. So I'll go and create a task. As of now, there are no tasks. So let's create a task for weather app. Weather prediction for June 2023. Some task. Okay, and let's say 1st of June. Description is test June. Assigned to, let's say, the team member, and priority is low. Okay, and I'll submit this. So the task will get created, assigned to the project, which is the weather update, and then you can see the task on the weather update project details page. So this is the details page for weather update project, and this is the task. Yeah, so this is how basically you create a task and then assign it to a project and display the data only for that particular project or display the task for that particular on the details page. Now let's implement the feature request section. So let's say I want my clients to be able to send feature requests to the admin so that they can tell them what exactly they need and the admin can prioritize on the basis of whether we are developing the feature or not. So let's see how that can be done. For that, we already have a collection called feature request. As of now, I don't think there is anything. Okay, so let's go and build a page for client to request new features and for the admin to accept or basically change the status of those features, whether they are in development, they are planned for some next milestone or whatever it is. Okay, so let's see. So I'll go to my pages. Project list page, a task list page. So let's create a page which is a feature request list page for client. Okay, so I will say client feature request. So I'll just copy it from existing page so that we don't have to design from scratch. So let's say copy from project list page. Okay. And only client with admin role and client team member can access this page. I'll remove this data group because it's not needed. Okay, in the section I'll say my feature request. Okay, and this link will change to the feature request create page. Okay, so let's first go and just drop a data table here, right? So that we want to see what feature request we have given, right? So I'll say get data from collection, from feature request collection. As of now, we have not created any filter. Okay, so we need to bring the feature request which were raised by this particular client. Okay, so that we'll come back. So let's say I'll just remove this client, but let's say we want to search on the basis of status, that what is the status of the feature, what are the feature requests which are raised for a specific status. Okay, not for a specific status but for a which are of a specific status. Remove this button. Okay, that's all. So now I'll go and create a filter so that this client can see the feature request which they have raised. Okay, so I'll go to the collection, go to the feature request collection, and let's create a filter. So I'll go to the filters and say feature request of current client. Okay, so I'll say find all matching data condition is there where client is equal to current logged in user field client, right? So we are saying bring me all the feature requests which were raised by this client. Okay, just save and create filter. So feature request of current client got created. Now let's go and create a page to raise a new feature request. So I'll say add page, client, new feature request. I'll say copy from existing page, and let's copy from task list page or any page, right? Hardly matters. We just need the header and the footer. Client admin, client team member role, I'll create. I'll remove this data group. Okay, I'll say create new feature request. Okay, and this button will probably take them to feature request list. We'll go to the settings, and from here we'll just take to feature request list page. I think it's feature request page. Now let's drop a form here. Before dropping a form, I'll just divide this page into two sections. Okay, move this up. It is here. So now let's drop a collection form. Right, we want to create a new feature request. So the collection form is of feature request, right? So asking title, client, status. So status we will not take from the user. Okay, probably we can create another field, let's say priority, whether they want this feature to be urgent or they have some question. But yeah, for now let's leave it. I'll just say what is the feature which they are looking for. Okay, I'll remove this also. I'll say what feature are you looking for? Okay, that's all. Now we also want to pass the client, right? So by mistake we have deleted that field. We should have kept it so that we know what is the basically what is the variable for that selection of client. So the variable is client. Okay, so I'll just keep it, and then I'll delete this, and I'll drop a input component, right? So that we can pass the client ID as a hidden field. So this feature is basically getting an upgrade where you don't have to pass it as a hidden field, and you can basically keep it in a constructor. But that is something which we cover in some other video. Let's get content from logged in user, and the value is client ID. Okay, that's it, and we will mark it as hidden. But for now, I'll not mark it as hidden, so that when we are creating a feature request, you will see that what is the client ID or what client ID gets passed. Okay, so I'll go back to the client feature page, feature request list page, and we'll create a link for this particular page. Okay, let's create project. Sorry. Before that, let's change the filters, because here, if you remember, we were fetching all items. We want to fetch only the items of the request which this client has created. So I'll say feature request of current client. Okay, this is what we want. So title, I'll just move. Actually, it has resetted the table. Okay, I'll remove the actions because I don't want client to delete them once it has been raised. Okay, and then we'll probably show them the status by admin. Okay, status by dev team, let's say. Okay, that's all. And link this button to create new feature request, or we can call it like request new feature, whatever you want to call it. Okay, this button I want take to the a new feature request page, right? So this is fine, this is fine. Now let's go to the snippet and fix this link. Alright, so I'll go to the snippets. In the client sidebar and team admin sidebar, we need to fix it both the places, right? So feature request, we'll just link it to pages client feature request page. So this is fine. In the sidebar, team sidebar also same thing. Feature request, which is a client feature request page. That's all. So now I'll go and preview and reload the page. Okay, so I'll just reload this page so that this link start working. Feature request page. So as of now there was no request. Okay, so I'll say create new feature request. So this will basically create a feature request by this particular client. So here you see the ID is coming here. This is what we want to pass as a hidden field. Okay, so let's say I want to request, can you create a month-wise report for project tasks. Okay, let's say some request. I'll say submit. So as of now this will not do anything, right? Because we have not told what to do, right? So probably it will just throw an error. See, because the event is not binded. So let's go and create an event. So I'll come back here. I'll go to the event and add an event. Say client create new feature request. So the first thing is we want to save data in the collection. So I'll just save data in feature request. I'll say feature request received successfully, error. After it, we just want user to get redirected to the same page from where they came. So I'll say in the navigation page redirect to the feature request page. That's all. We don't want to pass any ID or anything, so I'll just leave all these options as it is. Now let's go back to the form and just assign this particular event to that particular form. Okay. I'll go to the collection form settings and choose the new event which we just created, which is create new feature request. That's all. I'll save this. I'll mark this as hidden because we've already seen it how this works. So I'll just mark it as hidden, and that's all. Now I'll reload this page. I'll just copy this so that I don't have to type it again. I'll reload the page. Okay, and this will probably be hidden. So I'll say, can you create a month-wise report for project task, and I'll click submit. So now the feature request is created and admin can see it. Now let's go in the admin and create a page where they can see the request and probably update the status. We can also trigger an email to admin, and when the admin updates status, we can trigger an email to client that, oh, they are entertaining this request or whatever it. Okay, and here you can see they can actually see the request which they've raised. So now let's go to the client for the admin and create a page which is admin feature request page. I think we already have a page for this, so let's see what it is here. It is just showing the feature request. Okay, and they can add it and change it. So let's log out and log in as admin. Okay, I think log out is not implemented. No, it is not. So just log in as admin. So log in. The admin should be able to see the feature request which was raised by the customer. Okay, so I'll go to the feature request and I can see the feature request. Now let's just display that which particular client has raised this request. So what I'll do, I'll go to here and probably just duplicate the columns. Okay, and in the settings, let's go and display the client. So I'll say client. So here you can see we are seeing all the fields of the client. I just want to display the name of the client. That's all. Okay, and client name. You can even change this variable like title if you want. I just want to display the client name. That's all. Okay, so I've done it. Let's go and reload the page. So now I should be able to see one more column, which is client, so that we know that which particular client has raised the request. So this request was raised by Google. You can also display time. You can implement the edit functionality. Like they can edit it, change it, they can change the status. But yeah, for the scope of this video, I'll just leave it. Now let's implement the most important part, which is adding of team members to this particular client. So let's say every client want to invite their team members. So how they can invite their team members, how they can assign them roles, and how those team members can log in and do the like basically use the client portal to create tasks, to new feature requests, create tags, and all those things, right? So let's see how that can be done. So what we'll do, we'll go and create a page. So let's say first create a page for team members. Okay, so let's say client team members list. Okay, so I'll just copy from an existing project so that I don't have to build it again. So it's a project list, and I'll say admin role. Okay, so now only admin can see this. Okay, client admin. I don't want client team members to see what all team members have access to the project. So I'll just give only one role. So this is a difference from what we have done so far. Right, so I'll say create. So I'll just remove this, my team members. Okay, I'll say, I'll just rename this. Let's invite team members. So now let's drop a data table. Okay, so I'll drop a data table. You can display team members in the form of table, in the form of cards, however you want. Okay, so I'll say collection is user collection. Okay, and all item. As of now, it is all item, and we can just change it to on the basis of logged in users TNAM, like we've done for other places. Okay, we will do this. Password I don't want to display, but we'll come back here. Let's go first create the filter. So I'll go to the collection, go to the user collection, and create a filter to show only the team members of this particular client. Right. So I'll go to the configuration, create filter. Let's say team members of current logged in client. Same thing, I'll say find all matching items. I'll add the condition. I'll say bring me the users where client is equal to current logged in user client. Right, so this is important. So I'll just save and then create filter. That's all what we need. Right. So in the new version of this application, you will see this filter getting created by default. So you will not have to do it. Okay. So I'll go back to my page, client team members page. I think the last page. Let's just change the filter. I'll say client's team member, right? Or whatever the filter which you just created. Email is fine, full name is fine. I don't want to show the password. In fact, password is encrypted, so it will be of no use even if you want to show them. That's all. Okay, and I'll say invite team member. Now let's create one more page. Let's create a page to add new team member, right? Client add team member. Copy from existing page, some client page. Let's say create task. Only admin can create team members, so I'll give only role to the client admin, right? So I'll just remove this form and I'll drop the collection form again to create a user, right? So I'll say collection form. The collection will be user, right? And event we have not created, so we'll come back here to create an event and assign. So I'll say email, password, roles, full name, full name. I've just moved to the top. Full name, email, password, roles, and client. Okay. So client we will pass hidden like we have done everyone else. So let's do it. But before that, let's create an event and then we'll come back here. So I'll go to my event and add event. Client add team member. In the event, I'll go to the collection and say save data. So I'll assign user. Let's say team member invited successfully. Error. Then I'll say in the navigation, take me to the list page from where we came to create this particular team member, right? So client team member list page. That's all. So now let's go to the form and bind this event. So I'll say create team member and then I'll just bind this event. So I'll go to the collection form, to the settings. I'll bind this event, which is add team member. Okay. Now let's change this. Instead of ID drop down, I want to pass the ID so that the team member gets added to this particular client, right? So I'll look for an input. So input, give the name, which is client. In the content, sorry, not from the project. Okay, we can even bring the, okay, so since the project collection is binded to the page, hence it's showing me this option, but yeah, for now, ignore it. So let me remove the collection from this page because it's not needed. I'll say update. I'll reload the page. I'll go to the settings again. Get value from logged in user. And I'll choose the client ID. Okay. Because we want to send the client ID and I'll just remove this. Roles. So we have two options. Either we can just show the roles of the dropdown. Basically, we can whitelist that which roles this client can add, or we can create two forms. You then say invite team member and invite admin. Okay. So I'll just keep it as it is. Email and all these things are good. Even we have already binded. Let's just link this page and see the functionality. So I'll go to the snippet. Okay, and this time I will only go to the client admin sidebar, right? Because team members will not be able to add admin, so they don't even have that option. So I'll say team members list. That's all, right? So now let's go to the preview and reload the page. So I'll log out from here. Okay, and I log in as a client, which was google@email.com. Now this team members link should work. So I'll just click it. So invite team members. I don't think we have linked this page. So let's go and link this page. So here you can see actually they are seeing their team members, right? They are not seeing other users. So let me just go and create some other users for some other client. Okay, so let's say add a user. Let's see what all clients we have. So we have Apple. So let's say apple@email.com. Some password. User, let's say we log in as a client admin. Apple admin, let's say. Okay. Just to show you that how different, like how these things for different users look like. So now I am logged in as a Google, but I will not be able to see the team members of Apple, right? I am only seeing for Google. Now if I log in as admin of Apple, let's see what we see. So I say login. Apple. I will not see any user apart from this user, which is the team member of Apple. I will not see any projects because we have not created any project for Apple, no task and nothing, right? Because everyone will only see the data which they should be seeing, right? So I think there was a project for Apple, so that's why we are seeing it, which is fine. But we were seeing different projects for Google. Now let's go to team members. Let's see. So team member, they should also see only the team members which they have created or they are for Apple client. So only one, right? So now let's go and invite team member. I'll log in as Google again and invite team member for Google. Login. I'll go to team members. Now I won't invite team members. So I'll click invite team members. I think this is still going to the old page. So let me fix this button. Go to the page, which is team member list. Actually, this button is going to the project create page because we just copied the page from there. So we need to change this link. So I'll say take me to add team member page. That's all. So now I am inviting a team member to view the Google project, right? So let's say Google team member 3. Okay, I'll say Google 3 @email.com, some password. Okay, and role. So role, we are seeing all the role. This we can filter that they will only see the role whether they are client admin or client team member. For now, I'll just say client admin. Okay, and this is the ID of the current user, which you can obviously, this is the ID for the current tenant, which you can obviously hide. Okay, so I'll submit. That's all. So now our new team member for Google team is created. Now they can also log in and see whatever the other team members are seeing, right? So let's log in from this person. Okay, so I'll just go to the login page. Go to the login page and let's now log in from Google 3. Can you see I'm logging as the recent team member which we have just created, and I'll log in. So this team member, since he has an admin permission, they will also see all the feature requests, all the projects, the task of the project, and they can also invite team members only for client Google, right? So because this is a multi-tenant application where everyone is seeing what is specific to their client. They should also see those 4 projects which were created for Google. So 4 projects. So let's say a Google Map issue. They will see the task only of Google Map issue. Create a task. Okay. Let's see. Fix Google Map for XYZ location. Okay. Due date, some date, description, some description, assigned to, let's say assigned to themselves, and some tags. Okay, fix. Now, if we go to the collection and if we see that which tenant or which client this task is assigned to, you will see it will get assigned to Google. So let me go to the task collection and just see this. I'll go to the task collection. So this is the task which we just created, 11th description, assigned to this person, client for Google. This it is taken automatically from the logged in user tenant, right, or the client. Priority, project, because we have created a task for this project, and that's all, creation date, right? So all these things. Now if they go to team member, they will see the team members of this particular client, and they can also invite team members because they have that privilege, right? So yeah, we will refine this project and launch it as a template. Okay, we will do much more changes, modification, pop-ups, and probably we will also use it as an internal tool for us to work with multiple clients. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you have seen step by step how to create a full-fledged application starting from scratch. See you again in the next video. Bye-bye.